Hey everyone. So I hope you're all doing extremely well. And I hope you all had a great Labor Day weekend. Today, what I wanted to talk about was an experience that I had yesterday talking to a woman who grew up very, very different than I did, is in a different phase of her life than I am. And we had sat down and talked about race relations here in the country. Granted, I'm not going to go into too many details of it, but just kind of an overall learning of what came out of the conversation on my perspective. So the woman, very, very different than I was. She, from what she told me, is single, moved from Seattle between late 50s, early 60s, based on what she told me, and she was a white woman. Granted, I usually don't like to define race when I'm talking about stuff like this, but I'm just doing it based upon a perspective type of thing. So you know that, we both are coming from completely different point of views. So I'm not going to go into like too many specifics about the conversation. Her and I agreed on some things, disagreed on a lot, but we were able to have a conversation where we could disagree, but we could respect what we both were saying because we understood that we both had such different life experiences living here in America. And that's kind of what I wanted to touch point on was that, not everyone's going to understand your fight or your experience or what you've went through. But the more we keep having these conversations where we're able to sit down and comfortably talk to someone or disagree or share viewpoints, the more that we're open to doing that, the more that we're able to eliminate the ignorance and the misunderstanding and the hatred that goes on in this world. And, I think the best thing that she could have told me was she was very appreciative to have this conversation with me because she's never been able to have it with someone. And she did have a lot of questions. And she did want to see what someone's experience was like being a minority in America because she, really never had gone through it. And she did have a lot of questions, but she just never felt comfortable to. And so I just want to encourage people that no matter how difficult, the conversation may be or how uncomfortable the question might be, I encourage you to sit down and have these conversations with people because I think what we've created is a society where everyone gets so offended or we're in fear of asking our questions. And I think that's what creates the whole misunderstanding. So I'm here because I want to eliminate this heart issue. Now, I think, granted, there's a lot of debate on whether there needs to be more legislation or not. And I think that, granted, yes, I do think there could be legislation. I don't know what it would accomplish. But I also do believe that there's no amount of legislation, laws, organizations. I don't think there's enough. There's going to be enough written law that's going to change someone's heart. And racism is an issue of a heart. It's hatred that stems from the heart, ignorance, misunderstanding, and I want to just be the person that starts squishing that hatred and starts building understanding and helping people heal their hearts. To show that, we may have a different color of skin. We all, have a soul. We're all a part of one body, and it's the body of Christ. And so, I'm here fighting the fight to end discrimination and to end hatred in people's hearts and hopefully show that we all have different experiences. We all can learn from each other, and our differences are what make us beautiful. And so I really, really hope that people can take away from this that, we can unite, that we need to start removing this wedge that society has created between races, that we can build a better future for each other, but in order to do that, we need to unite as a people and stop passing on to our next generations this perspective that it's a racial fight here in this country. We are fighting the wrong enemy. This isn't the enemy, our neighbor, our brothers or sisters. This isn't the enemy we're supposed to be fighting. That's what Satan wants, is for us to be divided, because there's power in numbers. And so my goal is to create a unified country based upon, regardless of what someone looks like, what they choose to do. And I want to continue showing people love, and I think that's what we need to start doing, is uniting as a group of people and start loving and showing that there's not much difference between us. So I'm really grateful for the experience that I had yesterday. She taught me a lot that she just didn't understand. She just didn't know, and I can't hold that against her. And I can't hold that against anyone else who might not understand. So I encourage people to ask questions, to have these difficult conversations, or even if you want to practice with me, I'm more than happy to, get uncomfortable and have you ask questions, or have me ask questions, or, dive into topics that, are now seen as taboo to talk about. So let's start changing hearts and healing hearts, and stop passing on this perspective that, we're different because of our race. We have different, different life experiences, but we're still all people at the end of the day. And so I think it's just that we need to heal hearts, show love, and unite with one another. So granted, you might feel differently about a few things, or might have questions, and I'm more than happy to answer any question that you might have. But I think we need to start being more outspoken about the injustices that are going on in society and the real issue, and it's an issue of the heart. And we need to keep talking and keep having these conversations so we can continue fighting this fight and defeating the enemy. So thank you for taking the time to listen to me. This is an issue that's really near and dear to my heart. I believe that discrimination is a fight that can be won, but we need to keep talking to one another and having these difficult conversations. So thanks again for listening to me. Have a blessed day, and hopefully this sheds another light to an issue that's going on in the country. And I believe that once we're all unified in fighting the correct enemy, we can win this thing. All right, so thanks for listening to me, and I love you all, and I can't wait to post my next video for you. All right, thanks. You guys have a good one.